Imagine you have turned to your grandparents when they were young and calmly informed them that their beloved pounds, shillings and pence were someday going to be scrapped in favour of a newfangled decimal system. Firstly, you have a bizarre family tree. After all, you just turned to your grandparents when they were young. But secondly, they would dismiss your revelation as the ramblings of a mad person, possibly escaped from a nearby asylum and almost certainly stricken with a popular illness of the day, most likely scurvy. But hit them again a few years later with the news that the inches, yards and country miles of which they have become so fond would also be abolished in favour of the new kids on the block, known simply by their gangster-style initials MM, CM and M. You would almost certainly have the octogenarians spluttering into their hot bovril. So why is it that most of mankind's established systems of measurement can be erased from living memory only to be rebuilt in handy-dandy blocks of 10? But the most seemingly random collection of mismatched units has survived the onslaught of numeric standardization. In short, why has no one decimalized time? Let's examine the evidence. The only units of time that bear any similarity to each other are seconds and minutes, and only because both come in clumps of 60. And that was probably a mistake. Ancient minds surely preferred 41 or 17 seconds in each minute, but a misprint on a stone tablet somewhere probably brought us to where we are today. Above and beyond this, there seems to be no rhyme or reason as to how your wristwatch is divided up. So, it's 60 seconds to a minute, 60 minutes to an hour, but then, out of the blue, 24 hours to a day, followed by a mysterious 7 days to a week, and an unjustifiable 52 weeks in a year, which equates to a similarly random 365 days per year. It's only when you get up into the realms of decades and centuries that things begin to come good, and who can wait that long? So how can they justify why the one measurement that we all use all day, every day, has never been broken up into nice bite-sized chunks? The principal schools of thought are that it has something to do with the flow of the tides, the Earth's orbit around the Sun, the gestation cycle of crops, and the survival of all natural life on Earth. Yeah, all sounds pretty weak, doesn't it? But let's break it down. Firstly, we need to face facts. The natural growing cycle of the staple crops upon which we all depend is now largely obsolete. Thanks to the wonders of pesticides, synthetic soil, and genetically modified just about everything, it's now wholly possible to cultivate and harvest a healthy crop of mangoes in your airing cupboard. So farming is not to blame. As much as we all enjoy waggling our toes in the turquoise brown waters off the coast of this fair isle, it would be foolish to cite the ebb and flow of the tides as a reason not to mix things up a bit. After all, if the world's scientists and bypass protesters are to be believed, the globe is warming up or cooling down at such an alarming rate that before too long most of Canada and New Zealand will be underwater anyway, and it looks like we'll lose the Isle of Wight forever. So at least it's not all bad. But it does suggest that the rise and fall of the mighty oceans is somewhat less relevant now than in Sinbad's day. To briefly consider the rotation of the Earth and the subsequent survival of all natural life upon it, if there are species out there who still require a regimented pattern of daylight and darkness in order to live healthy lives, their eventual extinction will be no one's fault but their own. Stay with it. All will become clear. Legend has it that somewhere, scurrying around in the underbrush, there are creatures who haven't bothered to evolve at the same rate as the rest of us. Indeed, creatures who haven't successfully adapted their body clocks to cope with today's hurly-burly lifestyle, which is a little embarrassing when you consider all the splendid human phenomena which have evolved thus far. Consider the noble night watchman, who rarely encounters daylight, and only occasionally encounters other people. Or the student doctor, whose long working hours dictate that they can arrive on duty at dawn, but return home in a completely different season. Or the long-haul stewardess, hopping in and out of time zones, often seeing nothing more than the inside of a 747, or the underside of a co-pilot's duvet, and baffling science by arriving at her destination several days before she left, and looking several weeks younger than she did at takeoff, whilst her passengers look like they've been passed through one of those machines that put string bags on Christmas trees. And although these are all noteworthy case studies, none are as impressive as the Inuit people of Greenland. Depending on where in Greenland they build their ensuite igloos, because an igloo without a loo is just an ig, and who needs that? The Inuit will suffer any combination of permanent daylight, no daylight, bright sunlight but bitter winds, which counts out sunbathing, especially nude, ice, snow, and the northern lights, which are guaranteed to illuminate the Greenland sky just as you're trying to get your Inuit kids off to sleep. So, all things considered, the human race is way out in front when it comes to proving that our measurement of time need not stay as it is, if only for fear of disrupting bedtime. And if any militant woodland creature were ever to come back with the argument that
we adapted our sleeping patterns eons ago when we developed hibernation,
our response should be this: as nice as it would be for all of mankind to just go bye-byes when it got a bit chilly, not only would it destabilise modern civilization, as insomniacs went on 4-month looting sprees while the rest of the world slept, but it would also spoil Bonfire Night, Valentine's Day, and effectively wipe out Christmas. So sod off, you stupid, overgrown soft toy. Or words to that effect. And thereby we uncover the only major fly in the whole time decimalisation ointment. Not so much the abolition of Christmas itself, although it would be fairly bad news for the makers of Totes Toasties and After Eights, and it would put the Body Shop's gift basket division out of business, but rather the thorny minefield of religious holidays as a whole. You see, it would never be a case of cancelling any of the religious or public holidays per se, but there would have to be some strategic rejiggling to fit them all in under the new system. There may also be a need to double up, i.e. do Christmas Day, Boxing Day and New Year's Eve all in one go. It would make for one hell of a day, but would also give us fewer reasons to get plastered in December, which incidentally may also have to go, but more on that later.